Hello and welcome back to Kevin Can't Play Today, the game show where everybody always loses. I'm your host Kevin. Today we'll be playing a game called Firewatch, which I hope you all enjoy. Um, I really like this game anyway. Um, kind of came up on a recommended list and yeah. So premise is you take this job due to some family issues during the summer of I think it's 1984 in Wyoming. Shoshone National Park, which I'm not sure is actually a real national park or not, but or state park or whatever. Yeah, here's your little Firewatch. Um, got your little map table here for spotting fires. Um, little bookshelf, your little bed, calendar, your all important Coleman water jug. Um, I had one of those as a kid. Um, and throughout growing up. Your little kitchen area, your little stove, and most importantly, your desk. Now, the character's a writer, so spends a lot of time on there. Picture of him and his wife. Important to the story, but I'm not going to spoil anything there. So there's you. uh, it's a lot of very 80s stuff in here. Let's start grabbing some rope. Rope's always useful. That way. We don't really need a pine cone, but axes are always important. Good to have a good axe, especially one of those. Oh man, we knocked the pine cone off. I can't remember what exactly. For pittance, for climbing. Those are pretty handy. Grab our flashlight. Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot about that's very bright. And a ring. We'll put that on. And yeah, let's grab our pack and step on outside. Yeah, if I can. Come on. Day is it? So it's morning. You got your nice map there. Zoom in on it and adjust it. And it is an accurate map. You will find that this map is very, very, very important, and you need it for practically everything. So, if you don't know how to read a map, especially a topographical map, you either get used to it and learn, or you're kind of screwed. But yeah, so there's your map, um, and you always have your compass out when you do that. You can also just have just the compass out. So if you know what bearing you need to go, you can just do that. That way. But yeah, one of the there's a couple key things about this game. So yeah, you're out here um, literally by yourself for 3 months. Um, there's nobody else here. Nobody. So the isolation of this game would be probably overwhelming if it weren't for the fact that you have a radio. Oh, that's a tape player. Usually it's the radio. But we're in free roam mode, so not the story mode. I like little additions like that that just add some nice realism there. Putting your hand up to kind of keep your head from bonking on the boards. Um, but yeah, in the main story, you have your supervisor that you are able to be in contact with on the radio. Yeah, your map and your walkie-talkie are your lifelines in this game. Without them, uh, life would kind of suck. Um, so which direction? I want to go. Where's this head to? Yeah, sure. Let's go to Jonesy Lake. Um, so that's a pretty hike. Just keep going this way. But yeah. So the story gets very interesting over the season. Um, Starts a little choppy because my graphics are a little higher than they probably ought to be for also running my recording studio. But yeah, so the story gets very interesting over the time. I don't want I literally don't want any spoilers, so I'm not going to say a thing about it. But it does take you all over your little area, all over the map. Check on it. Um, Make sure we're heading in the right direction. So yeah, this shows you where you're heading and where you've been. Gives you a little bit of a back trail, so you know if you're heading in quite the right way or not, which is very useful. Which we are heading in the right direction. And the story is a pretty emotional roller coaster, like from start start to finish. It's uh it's a story, man. Um, and it's most of the time pretty sad and sometimes a little scary, but it's a great story. It hits you real hard in the feels. So yeah, I don't think if you're thinking of hurting yourself at all, I don't think you'd maybe want to play this game because I don't think that would help. But otherwise, yeah, be prepared for an emotional roller coaster and maybe a tear or two. Um, it almost got me a couple times. So yeah. But other than that, I like that there's really no soundtrack. It's just you in the forest, and your supervisor. His name's Delilah. Oh man, the voice acting. Uh, that's one of the things I really love about the game. Is the voice acting is spot on. Have I not been in this one before? I copy that information. You'll get to when you find these little caches, you can kind of update your map and get more detailed trails from park rangers, other park rangers and stuff that'll help you figure things out quite a bit easier and get better. Um, Better paths, shortcuts. Ooh, there's our upgraded compass. Normally, that's very far down in the story. Very much a story item. here? Ooh, candy bar. I'll pick that up. Granola bar. That's how a snack. And sometimes they leave notes and stuff in the, especially the park, other park rangers will leave notes and stuff in those boxes. Trail split here, so let's see. Oh, that's what that note did. Kind of circled some stuff. Let's go to the Jonesy Lake campsite and see what might be there. I don't know what those things are. Never got this note. But yeah, you see the markings in red. Um, those are more detailed paths. So getting those from the maps and the cache boxes is really useful. And there's see our new compass there. And yeah, I think if we just head this way. Yep, that's the way we want to go. It's been a couple weeks since I played it, so used to have it, the entire map, the entire area practically memorized. By the end of playing it, exactly where I was going at all times. Yeah, like I said, the voice acting is really good. I really like the voice acting for Delilah. I couldn't have picked a better voice to be the one that you get stuck with as the only other person to talk to. Seriously, that. Apparently, in free mode, the controls are a little more, a little different. Yeah, so usually when you come across stuff, we'll see up here in a second. This tree stump has claw marks. It'll give you the option to call in your supervisor, and you'll have little discussions um, about what's going on in the game. Um, it does span like 80 days, I think. Um, we're very close to that. Uh, Sometimes you'll be skipping like entire weeks though, so there's just nothing important happened during that period of time. So it's not like you have to play every one of the days. It's just the important days that you really have to do. Oh, looks like the ropes are hooked up, so we don't even have to hook up the rope. That's nice. Because there's a lot of places that are like this that don't have ropes hooked up. I think because it's in free mode, everything's already hooked up in terms of ropes and such. So you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, a lot of walking. You're a pretty big guy in this, so that probably didn't hurt none. All the walking, losing some weight. There's a lot of walking. It's been called a walking sim. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But it kind of makes sense since you're working in the outdoors of Wyoming, watching out for fires, helping the rangers discourage teenagers with fireworks. Um, don't really have a reason to go that. Prettiest damn campsites you'll ever see. And I gotta say, having been camping in Wyoming, Um, and as somebody who's grown up in Oregon and camping and hiking all throughout the Pacific Northwest once upon a time, um, in my younger days, it's feels right at home for me. So if you like outdoor stuff, you'll feel pretty comfortable with it. If you like hiking and stuff, you'll like the game. Um, but yeah, so your job is just kind of walking around, dealing with crises as they pop up, like teenagers with firework, drunk teenagers with fireworks at a very high fire risk level. Um, Later on, what? Hold on, what am I getting there? I'm actually getting a signal. Interesting. Well, this campground was highlighted. Here. Oh, I haven't done free mode, free roam before. Still quite a ways off though. The signal. You don't get the axe till much later in the game either, so while these paths are blocked off to you for the beginning. They're going pretty strong on a signal. Ah, it's a cassette. Found it. Music. Okay, so now we can do a. Now we can have a soundtrack. Oh, dang it. Oh, come on. That's pretty nice. Got a lot of climbing around. Um, and yeah, usually you only get a little bit of music here and there at kind of important points, getting new gear, finding certain trails. There we are at Jonesy Lake. Pretty nice place. Guess we'll start hiking up the canyon. Show that off a little bit. Um, but yeah, so again, scenery's great. The voice acting is frankly amazing. Um, Graphics are really good. I wish I could show you better graphics because this is like low graphics setting, as most of my stuff is. Because I don't have a very strong computer yet. Though in theory, I'm getting a better one soonish. Uh, One more thing that needs to be worked on it, and then get it shipped out. Uh, but you know, I'm also not in a rush from it for it. Um, so my good friends and subscribers are helping me out with that, so I'm not going to complain about free stuff. deal with a hurricane recently, so that kind of took some priority, which is totally understandable. Anyway, this is some canyon. Can't remember the name. Thunder Canyon? Yeah, Thunder Canyon. That's not an ominous name at all. Nope, nope, nope. Um, oh, that's another thing. Like, uh, the time of day depends on what you're doing. So some parts of the day will take, or some parts of the game will take place at various times of day, and I think that's pretty neat and pretty interesting way of doing things. So you'll see these woods in all hours of day and night, um, from sunrise to sunset. And it's really interesting when you get some fire glow from some of the big forest fires that do start up later, because it's a hot summer in Wyoming with high fire risk, so of course there's going to be fires. Um, so that adds an interesting ambiance to the game later on. Uh, yeah, on this game on higher graphics setting is probably even nicer. But I do kind of like the I don't know what else to call it, but I call it the Bob Ross effect on it, where it's not photorealistic. It's a little cartoony, but not much, and not enough to make it not seem natural. So it still looks right, even when it is a little on the cartoony side. It still looks really, natural. I like that. I like the art style. Um, and since this is a relatively independent game, um, it makes some sense that they were able to maybe um, go a little cheap on the graphics because of the art style, so they could do more for the rest of the game. Oh, well, yeah, hold on. Yep, so here's a point where it's kind of a shortcut that if you have a rope slung down, you can climb directly up. Apparently, not all the ropes are put in place in free mode, so yeah, you still have to go do that. We'll continue on here. Wasn't really planning on going up there anyway. There we go. Let's get through here. Deeper into the canyon. Yeah, I mean, I like how the storyline also, like, nothing's terribly forced. Um, Especially for a relatively open world game in a sizable sandbox where you don't have to do certain things. Um, and you also aren't rushed into anything. You kind of take your time to get from point A to point B. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting game. You learn a lot. If you haven't been much in the outdoors, you learn a lot about orienteering with the map and um, climbing and hiking and stuff. And various things that go on in a forest, especially working forestry, that most people don't even know about. Let's see if there's anything. Let me open the cache. Open the cache. And the lock code's pretty easy. I mean, your supervisor tells it to you, but you can make a joke about how secure it is. But um, Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll copy that down over here. That's always good to have to get into. And oh, look, another flashlight, which we already have. Yep, we already have that. This is where you get the flashlight in the first place. And yeah, you got a deer horn. Yep, that's definitely a deer horn. I've got a few. 1 or 5. How many do I have? I had 5, but now I only have 4. I gave one away. And speaking of the flashlight, go to the dark and spooky cave. I don't really need the flashlight, but I'll turn it on for you guys. I'm kind of a natural night person, and my eyes are pretty well. They've got lanterns strung now all over it. You don't even need the flashlight at all. In the main game, there's no lanterns down here. Might as well just turn the stupid flashlight off. So yeah, this cave system is closed through most of the game. You find the keys in the pittance. You can't really explore it fully. It's a thing, and apparently they haven't put any more lanterns down in here. Yeah, yeah, that's a ways down, eh? Quite a ways down. But you can look for these cracks in the rock like this, and you can make yourself a point to drive pitting in there and be able to make yourself a place to go down the rope, which we're not going to do. Because I just want to kind of show you that ability, so in case you do end up playing the game and get kind of stuck somewhere, that might help you out. Instead, we're just going to keep going on here a little ways further. We'll loop back around to the Firewatch here momentarily. Kind of getting in on the backside of it. Get to the back door. Do. Yeah, as you can tell, without, you can get pretty isolated in this game if you don't have somebody talking over it. Somebody to talk to. So having your friend Delilah on the other end of the radio can really help a lot of times to not feel quite so isolated, because otherwise you will. But if you're into really good story-driven games, especially ones with a lot of exploration, I definitely highly recommend this one. A lot of great story, a lot of great exploration, a lot of neat things to find, uh, stuff. There's a lot of Easter eggs hidden around. Well, not really a lot. there is an easier way to come up the back way here, but than the hard climbing. But this is the fastest way to get up versus walking up all the switchbacks. It sucks to do this in real life. It'd be pretty tired by the time you got up to the top. Hear old Henry there huffing and puffing. That's the name of your main character, by the way, is Henry. Um, some of this climbing is inevitable, but especially once you're just out and about, there's not too a lot of heavy rock climbing like this, but there's some. There's some. Some if you're willing to do all the climbing faster. Firewatch station. Faster if you do the just straight up climb, because there we are. Come right up basically on my back door. Get to a good vantage point, and we'll probably call it there. Generator in your outhouse right there. Very, very important. Gotta have those. Yeah, there's your little home away from home right here. Yeah. It's your outhouse there, which, as you can tell, is like pretty much any BLM outhouse. If you've ever been to one, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you can probably smell it as I'm looking at it. You probably know exactly how that smells, or thinking of that smell right now. Yeah, that's kind of the realism of the game. Is if you've ever been out here and doing stuff, you already know what to experience and what you are experiencing. And all, beautiful game, a lot of great scenery to explore, a lot of big map there. Excuse me, I can't stop yawning right now. This where we'll kind of take a look here. You'll see kind of where we've been through. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of made that circle there, and that's only a part of it. I mean, you still got all this down here, then way all this up here, and yeah, pretty much all of it's accessible. Sometimes finding the right trail's hard to do, but again, that's why those caches are really important to look at, because they'll give you these trail updates, show you what the better trails are, and they'll even show you stuff like shortcuts, like over here at Jonesy Lake, that little dotted path there. That's a marked shortcut, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. But yeah, it's a real pretty game. I really enjoy it. It's nice and quiet, so yeah, it's one of those games that you can kind of just relax into and just enjoy. It does get kind of intense at places, but not overly. You definitely go through many different kinds of emotions, from sadness to anger, depression, paranoia at some points, a little bit of fear. So yeah, it's got a nice mix of and roller coaster of stuff you go through and stuff you got to deal with in the story. But all in all, I think the story itself is very good. And there are many ways to go through the story, either from minimal contact with your supervisor. You know, if you want it to just be super quiet and don't want to deal with any personal stuff, you just pretty much keep to the bare minimums to do the job. Or you can become really good friends with Delilah and explore that a bit more and call in about everything and talk too much. For me, I kind of had to do that. Yeah, I had to call up basically everything in um, just to have something to talk about. Because yeah, honestly, I would hate to do this by myself. I'd like to have at least one other person there. You know, somebody I'm pretty close with. Because honestly, 3 months of being stuck somewhere with somebody that you're not already pretty close with would be kind of miserable. You know, probably even more miserable than um, by yourself. Yeah, so for me, it was nice to kind of develop this really good friendship with the supervisor and be able to talk about stuff, and you know that changes the way the story rolls a bit. And yeah, so kind of up to you how you want to kind of play it. And I like games that are kind of open ended like that, but you do kind of have to go by the nose a little bit to continue the plot on. Um, but it's done in a really I don't know if ergonomics the right way to do it, but a very natural way. It doesn't feel like um, you're being forced to do stuff. You kind of want to do it. It kind of makes you want to do it. So just to see what's next. So it doesn't it doesn't kind of force you into stuff without really making you want to do it. Um, which is nice. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that today. I might stream something later. Depends on how I'm feeling. Um, allergies have been really getting to me. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope you check out the game. It's what, 20-30 bucks on Steam. No, a terribly expensive game for what you get out of it. I really got a lot out of the game. Game made me really kind of inspect myself a little bit too. It's kind of nice and not something that a lot of games do. Make you kind of think about your own, where you at in your own life and what's going on with it. So yeah, hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.